This woman is going through what no other woman should ever experience, the death of two children. But what makes it even hard is that the price she paid for dealing with a moron of a man. And we're going to talk about today's modern men, how it's very unfair, unbalanced in today's marriages that often end in divorce. Women put in more emotional labor. They also care more about the children's well-being. And unfortunately, this woman learned that her husband put two of her children in a swimming pool unattended. Listen to what she has to say.
My now ex-husband, their father, who I served divorce papers to in 2020, took our children to a friend, a house of a scuba diving professional, which I didn't know he was going to work there, because my ex, of course, is a scuba diving professional. He worked in the scuba diving industry for 20 years, and we were technical divers before we got into the scuba diving industry. My ex-husband took our two children to the home of a diving professional. There he borrowed his dive gear and used his pool to put our children alone in his swimming pool with an untested, unlabeled scuba tank, and went back to the garage to work. My children were given a bottle of 100% helium to play with. Helium, which is unbreathable, like a balloon. And my children were left unattended in a pool where they drowned. Sorry, it's taking me a lot of therapy to talk and not be so emotional. Sorry, it just makes my heart hurt. So yeah, I'm a scuba diving professional. He's a scuba diving professional. He went to work at the home of another scuba diving professional. But my children were not scuba diving professionals. My children did not have experience with scuba diving. My children wouldn't know anything about testing scuba equipment. They definitely wouldn't know that if they breathed off of a helium regulator and they sounded like Donald Duck, that something was wrong. I'm angered. I'm angered. Sorry, a lot of therapy again. That my children don't get justice. I know it doesn't bring them back. It doesn't mean I should let it go. Try not to make it run my life. But I don't think I should let that injustice go.
When I hear this woman's story, it makes me think about how much God has blessed me. We are stressed out all the time about what are we going to eat, where are we going to live, how are we going to make our next dollar. And there are people who exist alongside with us worrying about what would happen if I didn't let them see their father that day. Why was he not attentive? And it's sad because the burden is on her because they came from her womb. And oftentimes men will do stuff because they're careless, because they don't care as much. So now she's suing them for, having helium that wasn't labeled properly, anything to hold them accountable. And so I guess they're probably just want nothing to do with it. So they sold the house. And it's been 3 years since the incident happened. But this woman is still grieving like it happened yesterday. I mean, she is mentally trapped in a time capsule, and all she's haunted by is her children's memory. And she's got a divorce that just solidifies everything, all of her resentment, all of her regret. She feel like she lost everything, her identity, the things that she lived and loved for. The man of her life, the love of her life, and her divorce in 2020. Same year, he's the reason why the two kids are no longer here. Now, if this was truly an accident, you know, then I'm sure he's hurting as well. But it's no equivalent to the mother, because women don't move on so quickly. You already know the nature of men. This story stood out to me because a lot of us are in a place in our lives where we're not happy. We're waiting for the next big check. We're waiting for the next successful business idea or the next best paying job. And we don't even realize the misery that people are existing in, what they have to think about daily while we are stressed out about a argument with an ex or a toxic relationship. We're investing our anger, our energy, our time into retaliating against a toxic ex. And oftentimes, we should have been using that time to be focusing on God, focusing on His plan for us. Like I said in the last video, there's eternity and then there's this temporary life. It's really starting to stand out to me just how temporary life is, and all the things that we hold on to, and then a tornado could just take everything you worked hard for. So you could have got that big promotion. You could have sold those stocks at 100% profit, and a tornado comes and wipes everything out. So what is the purpose of life if that can happen and there's no one to blame? No crazy ex-husband, just natural disasters. Well, to me, the consolation is we have to stop being so attached to the here and the now. We have to start planning where we're going to spend eternity at. I like to be ahead of the game, whether it's in school, whether if it's in college, studying for an exam. I don't like being caught off guard about anything. So I'm sharing my message, this woman's message. It's, one of those things that touched me because I was sitting here about to relax, and this story kept standing out to me, and I just didn't want to miss an opportunity to share something that would change somebody's life who's going through this. If you know somebody going through this, you can understand them better. There's so many stories, but this one just really touched my heart because we talk about decentering relationships for our mental health and sanity. The resentment is just out of this earth, and I really hope she can heal. I hope she could gain some kind of justice, reciprocity out of this. I just seen a story today of a young woman, several baby daddies, but one was a nut job, going to this woman's house where she lived at her mom's house and started shooting up people's cars. Then next thing you know, he's chasing her down the street with his girlfriend driving, and he's shooting at her. And all of this caused the police to start shooting at her car because they didn't know where the gunfire was coming from. So all together, she lost her life in front of her mother's house, in front of her uncle. The same cops that they called to help solve a crime ended up being the people who committed another one. And so this is the problem. This is the reality. We got to stop playing. Guys who call the cops on us, like on Danny Lee and the baby's live stream, people are calling the cops on people knowing that it's dangerous. It's dangerous to do so. Domestic violence responses are the most dangerous to police because the passion is so high. They don't know what to expect. If you're dating a guy who has a pet but he doesn't feed them every day, he's not filling their water bowls up, that's a red flag. A guy who has kids but he's not taking care of them, that's a red flag. That's a red flag too. I don't care how common it is. Ladies, look after yourselves. My name is Christina. Make sure you subscribe. Talk to you in the next one.